Okay, our first note card, our parallelogram note card. We went through this one together, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just kind of use this as an example for how we're going to go through these.
Never did definition.
Okay. Oh yeah, we didn't, did we? We can add the definition at the end.
Where are we gonna put it?
You don't have any room?
Oh, you're proud now.
You wrote too big.
No, I didn't.
And we didn't do diagonal.
I have 3 lines left.
I know.
I don't have
Same.
the room. Actually, I do have the room because I did write on the back.
Nice. There you go.
Bet.
Okay. So, no. Hey, with this, if you have room on your note card somewhere, I would love for you to add on either definition and diagonals. Okay. And we can shorthand those. Okay. So you know. So for parallelogram, definition is it's a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel. Now we already knew that. And ways we can shorten this up is you can shorten up quadrilateral to, I'd be okay with that one being shortened to like, let me do a color that'll show up here. Quad. Width, you could do W slash, that means width, you might see that some places. Both pairs of OPP off sides parallel, like that. That's the way you can shorten that one up. Definition, you can just make that DEF. All these ways you can shorten things up. Make less room. Now, what else did we say a parallelogram was? Yeah, it was none of our other special quadrilaterals. So we have all these special quadrilaterals in this section. That's what each of these note cards are. Special quadrilateral. This was nothing else special. Does everyone have this definition real quick so that way I can go to the next slide? Yeah. Or at least the shorthand versions. Because hey, guess what? It's still there. So just nothing. We should already have that in there. Just kind of recap to make sure we're on the same page. Okay. So the relationships of the sides, lengths, was that both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Yeah, it does. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Good. Happy to hear that. That both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Once again, we should have this down. Just want to make sure we're all kind of in the same spot. Obviously, Jay really don't have it done yet. Hey, you might want to wait till we're at the end of this note card.
Nope, it's too late. I'm gone.
Hang on. I took pictures of customers.
No.
Shit, anyway.
I'm just in denial.
I'm just gonna be in denial. This smells nice to me. Right. Slopes. It told us that both pairs of opposite sides.
Oh my gosh, man.
You're gonna have a lot of pictures.
I am gonna have a lot of pictures.
Degrees told us that both pairs of opposite angles are congruent, and all pairs of consecutive angles are supplementary, or any two pairs any two consecutive angles are supplementary. Diagonals. What do we know about the diagonals of parallelogram?
They meet at the bottom.
Okay, they bisect each other. Okay, so diagonals bisect each other. So you don't even have to write the if you don't want. You can say diagonals bisect each other.
No.
I'm having a rough day, okay, Mr. Rockwell? I don't need this.
Oh wait, does Evan just smell bad?
No, we're all kind of
Oh, okay, of course. Okay, does everyone have stuff with the parallelogram? Good with parallelogram. Gucci gang? Lit, fire, turn, cash money? Go? Yes.
No, I didn't do that.
Yes, I want you to have to think at the bottom about diagonals.
too big.
They're all purple. What is this?
Okay. Ooh.
And you thought it was stupid for me to put the sunlight on the back.
Hey, rectangle note card. Rectangle. Okay, we're gonna start with the definition. Then we're gonna go into our other things that hopefully you guys have, and we'll kind of recap and make sure we all kind of have similar things. If you need to, we'll kind of correct them. So definition: it's a parallelogram with 4 right angles. So it's like a parallelogram, but we have the added definition that it also has 4 right angles. Everything we know about a parallelogram, we also know about a rectangle, but we know a little bit more.
We just do line program.
Well, you can actually shorten down parallelogram. We have the symbol for it. Remember from when you were naming parallelograms? Or you can draw a mini parallelogram. So if you want to shorten down parallelogram, you can just do that if you wanted. If you wanted to do the parallel symbol in gram too, that would work. What about you?
Remember what it means?
Aubrey, stop shaking.
She's like, it just is fun.
Alright. What else is it? It's a parallelogram. Hopefully we all have that. Hopefully we all have that. And because in the definition, it's a parallelogram. So what else is it? A parallelogram. Yeah. What? No way. What? Go crazy. Ah! Go stupid. Ah! Go crazy. Ah! A little pause there.
I will see you all in hell.
No.
Aubrey's so confused.
There are any memes out there, not going.
Okay.
I brought me to the
Relationships of sides. What do we know about the relationships of sides?
Nothing. All
Kaylee Clark.
both pairs of opposite sides are congruent.
Awesome. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Remember, we can do shorthand versions as well. Want to make sure all of us have this, or something similar to where it tells us the same thing. Okay, these are for your guys for notes. So we kind of have little flashcards about the shapes, so we can know some key points about them.
Oh, I thought you swear.
So
What?
You would not believe your eyes.
I'll be proud of what you did.
Gage? You would not believe your eyes. Alright. What do we know about the slopes? What does that tell us? Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Now are both the length and the slope part, do we know those from parallelogram? Yeah, because it's a parallelogram, and it's true for that, it's automatically true for the rectangle as well. Now, what's our most specific thing we can know about the degrees of the angles? All angles are congruent here. So on the parallelogram, as both pairs of opposite angles are congruent, on a rectangle we can get more specific and say, well, all angles are 90 degrees, or you can put all angles are congruent, okay? Or slash and put both.
Mr. Collins, you can know something more
And
specific.
all pairs of consecutive angles are supplementary, or really any 2 angles are supplementary there as well. Yeah.
You can know where it sleeps at night.
Where does the rectangle sleep at night?
On my homework, I guess.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Do you have a joke for this? Yeah, we do sleep.
I'll sleep on itself because you know it's rectangle.
Okay.
It just killed 30 seconds. Hold on.
There it is. I was like, when you look at the clock, I'm like, this sounds like a distraction technique. Okay. Diagonals. So we know that because it's a parallelogram, what do we automatically know about diagonals? That they bisect each other, because that's true for a parallelogram. In addition, we also know they're congruent to each other. So the diagonals bisect each other like a parallelogram, but they are also congruent. So an added thing for a rectangle is that the diagonals are congruent. That's not true for a parallelogram unless it's a rectangle, but it is true for a rectangle.
So
It
I
is.
can't.
Too bad.
And I shouldn't be because it's life and I gave up being negative.
Hey, I'll wait.
You gotta see Fun Talks today. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's in the gym, and I'm not excited.
Wait. Hey, so all rectangles are parallelograms.
Yes.
Are all parallelograms rectangles?
Nah, man.
No.
Still no.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the next note card. What will our next note card be?
Those piano keys.
Rhombus.
Yeah, just gonna make jokes about his grandpa.
I always think of Parks and Rec when I hear rhombus because I think of DJ Roomba for the Roomba. Because like I had okay, a little more context I suppose. So when I was student teaching out at Gretna last spring, we were going through this section, and I had a couple students who were like calling it Roombus instead, and so that made me think of Roomba, which made me think of DJ Roomba. So whenever I think of rhombus, I now think of DJ Roomba. How many seconds was that, Evan?
Oh, well, when I was timing, it was 1.77.
That's it.
But he couldn't get it open.
Weak sauce.
Wait,
No.
Wait.
keyboard press and hold on. Oh, you let go and then 0.5 seconds.
Yeah. Rhombus note card. Our definition. We'll start with our definition. A parallelogram with four congruent sides. It's a parallelogram with four congruent sides.
You're lucky with this one. Oh, I just felt out of trigger. What am I doing?
I don't know. Hopefully when I ask.
Hi, Dewey, not me.
What?
You don't hear it?
What am I doing? You're
I didn't hear it.
I said
being
what
an
am
operator.
I?
Yeah, that's what I
You're being an operator.
That joke, if she were Yoda.
heard.
I would have walked out of this classroom right now.
Wait.
Wait, what? I don't get it.
Because
Yoda always talks backwards,
I'm so confused. Mr. Carlson,
Pretty
that's
loud.
me. That was really good.
How many seconds is that?
We're going on 38 counts until he starts talking about math the way they talk.
So, the parallelogram. So just like a rectangle has everything just parallelogram, but now instead of having four congruent angles, four right angles, it has four congruent sides. What else is it? Well, a parallelogram.
It's a pair. Whoa.
A rhombus is always a parallelogram. Okay, hopefully we have that. Lengths. What do we know about the lengths of the sides?
All sides are congruent.
All four sides are congruent here, so all sides are congruent here. Once again, hopefully we have that. What do the slopes tell us?
Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent.
Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. What shape does that come from? Okay, so
Parallel.
yeah, but parallelogram. That's what I'm getting at. I'm like, okay, well, even if phrase better. The both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That comes from our parallelogram definition. So because it's a parallelogram, we know that's true. The lengths, we add an additional thing. It's the definition of rhombus, but here, slopes, we know that's kind of a parallelogram. So nothing new compared to the parallelogram on the slopes. What do we know about the angles? Both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. So just like the parallelogram, we know both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. Should say both
Any
pairs.
two consecutive angles are supplementary.
Okay, and any two consecutive angles are supplementary. Very good. So that's the same stuff we know about a parallelogram. Now that we know about a rectangle, same stuff we know about a parallelogram.
Don't we know that about our
Yeah, but
Yeah.
rectangle we know that all four angles are congruent. So
Yeah.
all parallel are congruent.
That
Diagonals.
expression reminds me of like a 2-year-old trying to like rub your eyes because you're like.
The diagonals are perpendicular and bisect each other. So the diagonals not only they bisect each other, they're perpendicular. Let me condense this real quick. Okay, diagonals are perpendicular and bisect each other. So in addition to bisecting like a parallelogram, they're also perpendicular. Each diagonal bisects a pair of opposite angles and bisects a pair of I wrote that twice. Lest you must raise on half, lest we forget. Lest you must raise on half, lest we forget. So the two things we know, they're perpendicular and bisect each other, and they bisect a pair of opposite angles.
Don't forget your tilde, Kaylee. I wrote every single one of my tildes down, so chill.
Sad.
She's getting
Are you
sour
sure about
about
that,
that.
Kaylee? Well, you have been doing this
She
the
got
all year.
sour.
Oh, we can also have like me and show to you.
Not right now.
And
Oy.
some of us have double-sided cards.
That's not what I meant. Double-sided cards. Alien double-sided. Wait,
She doesn't know. She
No,
doesn't
that was first semester. So there was one time we were on the note packets where like it was double-sided and like it was already pretty fat. It was a fat stack, our original fat stack, the OG fat stack. And we were like going through it and like, okay, flip the page. It was like, it's double-sided? And it was like a big moment and she's like, no. Like, what did I get into? And it was just really funny. So we know all of this about the rhombus or rhombus.
Not any of it.
And the plural of that will be rhombi.
Roomba.
Questions on this?
Yeah.
Roomba.
I just
Yeah.
think of wrong one.
Okay, that's not a question.
Keep it
I
up.
know it's not a
Keep it up a
question.
little
I
bit.
think of wrong. I think of, I know, I seriously think.
Oh, yeah.
I did. Did you guys write most of this ahead of time?
I have to do the diagonal.
Oh, okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got pictures. I got resources.
Do you know, I've been sitting here and you've been doing things. And I just go, why is CJ Wiseman in your body?
What?
That is so
Oh,
different
yeah.
like that. That's who you remind me of when you rolled your eyes. I was like, you went like, just, I'm sorry. Just the But things I that know you're so doing saw right now CJ. are like,
I see Caleb too.
When are you
yeah,
my
well,
neighbor?
it's like such a CJ
I'm
Wiseman
watching
thing.
them. I see it. Like, my ear is ringing. Like, Caleb said something the other day and I was like,
Square.
wow.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they can make those.
What else is it? Oh, Josie's got this one. What else is it?
Rectangle, rhombus, parallel. Oh, Graham.
Yeah, did you miss this? Oh, well, sorry, we're getting that in a second. So the definition is it's a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. So like a rectangle, it's a parallelogram with 4 congruent angles, 4 right angles, and like a rhombus, it has 4 congruent sides. So it's a parallelogram has 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. Remember, you can shorten this by doing 4 congruent sides and 4, just write out right.
And you can do like the and sign.
And you could say.
Yeah, and you can do that.
it has four
And you can do the
congruent
and
sides.
sign, you can do like a plus like I do. Sure. Let's see, let's read on that, let's forget. Yeah, you'll need one more today. You'll need one more glass of yeah. So that's our definition. What else is it? Josie said that it was a parallelogram, a rectangle, and a rhombus. If you don't have those in that exact order, that's okay. I don't care about the order you have these, some of these other things in. I just want you to have all 3 of them. Because it's all 3 of those at once. So any square will always be a parallelogram, a rectangle, and a rhombus. It's like a rectangle and a rhombus. We're walking down the hallway, holding hands. Now they have a kid. It's a square.
That escalated so fast.
Yeah.
Walking down the hallway, holding hands, and now I have a kid.
That's what happens when you hold hands walking down the hallway.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
That's why.
What do we know about the sides of a square?
That's why you guys are screwing.
All 4 sides are congruent. What do you know about the slopes? Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel.
What they said.
I would say congruent.
So that's still like a parallelogram. Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel.
Do you think there's an opposite world where like shapes learn about us?
Deep.
They have like faces and stuff.
Yeah, the kind of stuff we get into.
Like children's TV shows. Like, you know, like the shapes of
The kind of stuff we get into in this class.
Not even gonna say that.
Definitions of angles. All four angles are 90 degrees, and any two angles are supplementary. So you're gonna say, really gonna say, any two angles are supplementary.
Wait, to follow up on Kaylee's thing.
No.
Mr. Carlson should be a polygon, and then he would tell all of his interior angles who would be us. You guys keep me home.
Nice.
And 9 seconds.
Hey, diagonals. We're gonna combine what we know about the rectangle and the rhombus. So let me get these out here, okay? All four. The world.
It's probably on the other part.
Wait a second. That's not what I meant to put there.
Wait
Oh, whoopsie daisy. Okay. Well, we'll fix that. So for the diagonals, what it should say is that it should say that diagonals.
That's everything.
Diagonals.
Bisect and are perpendicular to each other. They're also congruent. And they bisect a pair of opposite angles. That means all angles really are going to be bisected by diagonals.
Holy cow, I hope I'm not tired when I finish this. Oh, wow.
No, we're only doing those few note cards today. Now we're gonna go get up, make sure we have our notes out, and we're at 6.4. I see most of us are at today. Make sure once you have this note card finished for square, we're gonna go to our notes. But maybe it'd be a good idea to keep your note cards out.
No, it's like fun. It's like homework today, right? Are we gonna have homework?
Oh,
Why would we have homework where you only have 4 minutes of class?
Evan,
Square.
you have your grandpa?
What?
You got your grandpa?
Oh, no, that's for Snapchat.
Oh, your grandpa? Okay.
Adam.
So in our notes, what is the most specific name for this quadrilateral? Think about it. Okay. Why do you say rectangle, Noah?
Because opposite sides are congruent and have 4 right angles.
Okay, 4 right angles. So the opposite sides are congruent means that we know they're also parallel because it means it's a parallelogram. And in addition, we can know more specifically it's a parallelogram with 4 right angles. Why is it not a square? Because not all 4 sides are congruent. We only know opposite sides are congruent. And it can't be a rhombus for the same reason. What about this next shape? What would this be? Don't flirt. Don't flirt. What would the next? Don't flirt. Jacob.
Parallelogram.
Parallelogram. Very good. Good guess, Jacob.
Wow.
Jacob, why do you know it's a parallelogram?
Because the opposite sides are, well, all 4 sides are. Wait. Yeah, the opposite sides are congruent.
Opposite sides are congruent. 4 take marks. 3 take marks. And what do we know about the diagonals?
They bisect.
They bisect each other. And do we know anything more that can let us know it's a rectangle, rhombus, or square? Okay, well, sides are parallel, so that would just be true for a parallelogram. But what would we need to know for this to be a rhombus?
The angles would have to be at 90 degrees.
That'd be not rhombus, but a
Rectangle.
rectangle. So if the angles are 90 degrees, it could be a rectangle. We don't know that. What would we need to know for it to be a rhombus about the sides?
Be all congruent.
They would all have to be congruent, are they? No. So the most specific name we can have is a parallelogram.
Are you disgusted
Okay.
by a parallelogram?
Let's go to the next
I'm
one.
disgusted by it.
I discussed it back. Hey, what would be our most specific name for this one? Don't flirt. Don't flirt. What would be our most specific name for this one? Gage. Gage, why do you say that this would be a rhombus? Okay, all 4 sides are congruent, and it's a parallelogram because the opposite sides are parallel. Offsides a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. And additionally, we know the angles are not right angles, so it can't be a square. So it has to be a rhombus is our most specific name for it. What about this one right here? Okay, the orange and the blue just indicate this would be like kind of like our 2 arcs, or this would be like our 1 arc. This is the way the picture is.
Wouldn't it be a rhombus as well?
Okay, why do you say that?
Just because of the way it is. Have you seen that video?
Yeah, I showed
He
this.
showed us something.
Noah.
A parallelogram.
It did.
Okay, why are you saying parallelogram, Noah?
Because opposite sides are parallel to each other,
Uh-huh.
and both diagonals bisect.
Okay. What else do we know about this diagonal though? What does this create? Perpendicular. Which shape has that? A rhombus. So even though we don't know those side lengths, this tells us that it would be a rhombus.
We got some
A
wrong.
perpendicular angle. Okay? We're gonna skip the next 2 for now.
I know what they are.
Okay, we're gonna come back to it later.
Square.
I know, I'm the worst.
Guys, you know, I'm the worst I've ever done.
If we leave right now, we don't have homework.
Yeah, yeah, I still have homework, but yeah, baby. I know. Very shy. What is that? Is that a rock? I think that's a rock.
I'll trade you.
Jacob, is that a rock?
That means we can
It
bring
looks like a
Oslo
church.
up your door.
You're
That
locking
looks like a
people
rock.
out. This is not unique sequence.
Let's go.
Tell them to run away.
Yeah, run away while you can.
Alright, stop doing that.
Mr. Costa, take my
Making buckets?